Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to Relationship Rhetoric. I'm your host, Unapologetically Angela. Thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful Thursday. I am here yet again with another amazing couple. Whether you know it or not, I do have instances where I am afraid to ask people to be on the show just because, that thing of fear of rejection or whatever. But I had to ask about this couple because when I was speaking to them backstage, I remember Dr. Nikki before she became Dr. Nikki. She would be at networking events and I would see her, but she was just quiet and over in the cut. But she was always in the scene. And over the past few years, I've just seen a shift. She's getting her doctorate degree and she's just doing a lot of movement in the entrepreneur world. And then she started dating and was very open and free with showing this relationship. And then come to find out that the gentleman that she's Mr. Charlie was a powerhouse as well. And so looking at that and observing that from behind the scenes just made me so curious to know how did they meet, where were they, and in their busy worlds, how do they make a healthy relationship work? So I am really excited and I cannot wait to actually hear their stories. And I know that you are just as eager. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. Charlie and Dr. Nikki. Hey, y'all.
How you doing?
How are you today? Y'all so laid back. I love it.
We had to cut off a little early just to make this happen.
Okay, well, again, thank you so much for being on the show. And I really would like to jump into it. I want to hear the story about how you met. But before you get into how you met, and it doesn't matter to me who goes first, take me back to maybe 2 to 3 years before you met each other. Where were you mentally, relationship wise? What was going on?
Wow. You want to start or you want me to start? I would say honestly, I was I think settled. I had kind of come to this point where I was like, I don't want to be in any more bad relationships. I'm just going to do me. My girls are getting older. My twins were about to graduate. They're the caboose of the group. So I was really concentrated on my girls and then really figuring out my next move, right? But not at all concerned about a relationship. I was just like, it is what it is. And I'm okay with it. I'm doing well, and really celebrating me.
Okay. Okay.
Myself, I had just went through a divorce, and I was more so in tune, trying to get a closer walk with Christ. So that was my focus, embedding my mind, my time, my energy in my work, and so that was my focus. And I found my queen in my work. So it was a blessing, all God ordained. Took one day at a time. God just kept confirming things every day, and neither one of us was looking for a relationship or nothing like that. I prayed through the process after the healing part was that thy will be done. As we talked about work and relationship, I just kept telling her all I desired was thy will.
Yeah.
So, right. Mr. Charlie, when you say you found her in your work, do you mean in your process of healing or your physical workplace?
Yes, in my physical workplace. We actually had been in the same rooms maybe 3 to 5 years, maybe
probably
more.
Longer. I think for about 6 years. This is so funny. So I'm gonna tell the story. Hey. So I went back to work for Shelby County. Of course, I had left Shelby County many years ago. Had retired from there. Was living my best life, traveling. And I was asked to come back and take this position with a new program with the District Connector program that they have now going. And I saw him at a meeting and I asked Commissioner Caswell, I was like, hey, I need to connect with him because my job is to meet the community stakeholders, right? Okay. And so I scheduled a meeting with him and I think we had to reschedule it. And We rescheduled the meeting. I was only supposed to be there for about 30 minutes. Ended up being like a 2.5 hour conversation. I mean, it just went, and I was like, oh, I gotta get back to work. You know what I mean? Like totally like, oh, I'm like out of pocket right here, right? But the conversation was just us talking about business, how you got started, with Golden Institute and all that good stuff. And we just clicked instantly. And so as things kind of went forward, we just friends, just trying to help each other out. I was like, okay, you need a website. I'm gonna help you do your website. He was like, okay, I'm gonna help you. And, me and the guys will come to your yard. And they did such a beautiful job. And then from there, just conversation, just simple conversation. We both talked about like, oh, we don't want to be in a relationship. And I kept saying, I was like, I think if God himself would have to tell me this is that guy, right? Because I'm so settled, my girls are gone to college at this point, and the rest is pretty much history. And it was just really funny when he says God kept confirming stuff. It was like every day we just look at each other and be like, confirmation. That was our like running joke, right? Never would have guessed. And we talked about this just last night. We would have never guessed in a million years when we first connected that we would end up married. It's like, it's almost mind boggling, but that's how God works, because we both talked about being so busy. Like, he knows my passion, I know his passion, and really being able to be with a person that would understand. Because I've been in relationships before. Both of us have been married before. I've been in a relationship where, my past relationships where they were like, oh, you too busy, or they would be jealous almost of what I had going on. And that was so like, I just didn't want to deal with that anymore. And so he had dealt with some of the same things, right? And so I was like, man, but I will settle down for the right person. I said, when that time, I spoke that into it. We laugh about it because I was like, you remember that we were standing out in the rain, having this conversation, right? But I mean, God kind of moved that thing forward, and it just worked. It's so different though, being in a relationship with a person that supports your dreams. He knew my passion and my frustrations, and I knew his. And it's like, okay, so when I'm having a bad day, he is, you hear people say that all the time, but it's true. If you're with the right person, they know exactly how to pick you up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
That's
sweet.
the blessing. Yeah.
I love that. So, Mr. Charlie, when did you get to the point where you realized or God had revealed to you that Dr. Nikki was your wife?
Honestly, it was early on in our relationship, because I prayed that I wanted thy will for my life. I had went through a marriage. I tried my best to be a provider, protector, and a builder, and I was doing those things the right way, but we had two different understandings, and two mind of thinking going in different directions. But I knew who I was and whose I was. I just didn't have the queen to fulfill the package. And through the process of us having honest dialogue, I want to reintegrate that honest dialogue, which allow her to open up to me and me to open up to her. No judgment, and really want to embrace one another, help each other, cultivate things. Like, that's how our relationship started. Is that and more now. So God always confirms his will. So that has been my prayer. And so God kept showing me. So I didn't need any validation. I didn't need a yes man. I didn't need a hype man. I didn't need none of that. So, and a lot of time people say, well, why you get married so fast and this, that, and other? Thy will. You see what I'm saying? So when you praying, a lot of people pray selfish prayers. They want this, they want that. I don't do that. I God have given me many gifts. is developed through my talent, and it take my talent to serve my purpose. So I'm walking in that. So I'm not in need of anything but thy will. And he revealed that to me in our relationship. And that's the reason why it's fruitful and multiplying, is because it's thy will. You know, a lot of time we seek a lot of things in life, and you need to pray and ask if it's thy will. And we'd be like the children of Israel walking around in the wilderness because we going our own way, doing our own thing. But then when you going through certain trials and tribulations, you really have to look at self. You know, everybody don't want to look in the mirror. I've had a lot of challenges in life that have personally challenged me to look in the mirror, to do a strategic evaluation of myself, my heart, you know, my dedication, my love. You know, I understand love make allowances for human weaknesses. We're not perfect, you know, but we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. And that's the, when you ask, out of all the questions you ask, how we got here, how we doing, where we going, all of it points to Christ. You know, that is the center of our relationship, which you have Nicole on one side, me on the other side, and Christ is directly in the middle, in the center. So it makes everything work. Not everything is always perfect. You know, it's just like any other relationship. But the thing about it is, it's like we don't go to bed mad and all that. Like I've learned, but like you said, we both been married before. So, you know,
I be trying to have my pity parties. I ain't even gonna lie. I do. But you be
pay
like, no. You know, you get to this point, and I think the biggest challenge for both of us has been we worked on us, you know, after those relationships. And then we kind of got settled in us. And I think if I had to tell other couples, you know, I would tell them, like, you know, be cautious of that, because you kind of close off relationships. So we, you know, just learning how to like open up and being okay with, you know, we not, every day is not going to be perfect. It's not. We're not going to agree on everything. I'm not even going to tell anybody, no, we have our days. I'll be like, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. But and then I let it go. You know, I don't drag it on. I just kind of let it go, you know, and then he'll come back and he was like, you know, I thought about what you said, you know, just not even, I don't think we've ever had a real argument. No. I just tell him like, I disagree, you know, like I disagree with that. And I think that kind of comes with maturity as well. You know, I was married early, like in my early 20s. And so I remember those arguments. Oh my gosh. And I was like, I just vowed to myself, I did not want to be in a relationship like that again. And so when we first met and he used to say thy will, I was like, what is he talking about? You know, I know what he's talking about, but it was like, why is you saying this so much? Yeah. He would say it about everything. I'm like, you know, we need to get such on time. He was like, I don't rush to get nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, what? We really gonna have trouble. Because I'm such a timely person, right?
I will.
And he always says, thy will.
And it always be on point.
And it works out every time. And I was like, I gotta learn.
Wow.
Real practice, right? And so, I mean, it's taught me a lot. His patience has taught me a lot, because I'm like, go. Yeah. And it's teaching me to slow down, that you don't have to go 90 miles an hour every day. Sometimes it's okay to sit back and not go anywhere. Oh, I'm learning, because honey, I'm a road runner. So most people know me. They like, you know, you got that get up and go, you doing this, you doing that. And now I'm learning to just sit back and really kind of enjoy being married and being taken care of, and you know, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes God can be saving you from yourself. You be in a hurry. You in a hurry, and then you rush, and then you run into an accident. You see what I'm saying? So I don't do that. I already done prayed, thy will be done. Yeah. No matter how we plan, every day has its own agenda. Sometimes your will line up with God's will, and your day meets the plan that God has set forth. He said when he created the heavens and the earth and the fullness thereof, he said it would finish. So everything to transpire in this life has already been written. It just had to come to pass. So that's why my prayer is thy will. So whatever it is in the day, Lord, let thy will be done. Give me the strength, give me the will to understand thy will, give me the grace to go through whatever it is. You know, he said he's not going to put no more on us than we can bear,
Sure.
you know, and he said he'll never leave us begging bread. So I trust Christ, you know, with everything that I have. I believe that I have been in a place in my life where I have been familiar with God, but actually truly know him for myself.
Mhm.
And God allowed me to go through certain adversities that built the character of the man, which God had me on the potter's wheel where he was shaping me and molding me to become who I am. So I thank God for all the adversity in life, that it's teaching us how to persevere and to trust him in the process. You know, that is the key. No matter how you succeed in life, no matter how the pitfalls, the failures, the scars, the bruises, all that's for your making. If you never go through anything, you can never learn.
That's true.
So that's the reason why our relationship is as potent as it is because those seasons that meant for bad in our life, God meant it for good, and we just add another little sprinkle with it, and we got the right recipe.
All right. Listen, Mr. Charlie, you got a sermon, honey. You got a sermon in your heart. I love it. I love the word potent. I love that. I love that. So, in y'all's communicating as you're getting closer, what was the hardest thing for you, Dr. Nikki, to talk about?
Nothing. I'm like, I probably nothing.
Mhm.
I talk about everything, and it's probably it may have to some extent. He probably was looking at me like, wait a minute. I'm very open, so like I don't think anything was really difficult for us to talk about. I'm big on communication. That's my love language, I guess. Communicate with me. Let me know if I'm doing something wrong. Let me know if it hurts your feelings. Let me know, and it's not gonna stop me from talking. Obviously.
Mhm.
But I do want to know. And so I think I'm pretty open. I don't think we had anything that was really difficult.
No,
Yeah.
I mean honesty. That's why I said honest dialogue.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have to hide anything from each other. I don't owe her any lies. She don't owe me any. When you stand on truth, God principles, it flows. The energy of God flows. So you don't have to try to make this like this, make that like that. Our relationship really is natural.
And that I think that was the really unique thing about
Yeah.
this. I felt like we had known each other forever. Like we've been in the same rooms forever, like and didn't know it. You know what I mean? But like we knew each other forever. I just felt like I could just talk to him about anything, which was really cool. Sometimes, people, it made me look at relationships a little bit different. And I remember saying to my daughters, because of course I have all girls, and I was like, I'm starting to rethink the butterflies. You know how women say, oh, I got butterflies. That might be a signal telling you that ain't the relationship. That, right? I didn't have the butterflies. And, my oldest daughter was one that said, she was like, I think he like you. I was like, girl, stop. We just cool, And she was like, no. And so when she found out we were engaged, she was like, see, I told you, But I think, this relationship has caused me to look at relationships and marriage in a different light because I had such a totally different first marriage. And, the butterflies and feeling all that stuff. I said, that might have been God's unctioning, like, don't do it. I look at it totally different now. So, yeah.
Okay.
I think it should flow very
naturally.
Yeah, and calm, Yeah.
I love that. So, Mr. Charlie, tell me how you proposed.
Well, we was at the house and
do you remember?
Yeah.
Oh.
we was at the house and I had already made up in my mind that my soul and my heart was complete. And everybody had their own way of proposing, traditional ways and all that. And I try my best to show my wife my heart in everything that I do. And we was just in the living room, and the kids was there and around, and the grandkids, and and I just got on my knees and confessed my love to her and how I desire to spend the rest of my life with her, and to build something special. We've been building since the day we met because our minds met. If you keep thinking the way you're thinking, you'll keep doing what you're doing. And if you keep doing what you're doing, you'll keep getting what you're getting. So it was an elevation of the mindset in our dialogue. So the connection was always there. And, it wasn't about physical. We didn't go jumping in the bed and doing this and doing that, thy will. Done. And, and that's the honest God truth, and so it was easy proposing to her, and I'll do it all over again. And I'm just excited about the future and what we doing, and the best is yet to come.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So
they married the day that we met.
Yeah.
1 year later.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so sweet.
Yeah. So we did.
I love that. So when he proposed, did you have a feeling? Were you aware in any way, Dr. Nikki, at any? Was you getting?
I think I knew it probably was somewhere down the line. I didn't know it was going. I didn't know it was going to be that soon. Mm-hmm. But I knew it was somewhere down the line. I think we had built a very strong bond very early on. And it was so, it was so weird to me because I was like, man, like the first 5 or 6 weeks, we were gone somewhere. People still talk about that. It was like, y'all was vacationing. We were gone somewhere, doing something. I love to travel, but, and I think that kind of pulled him out of his shell a little bit too, because like a lot of stuff that I had done, he had never been exposed to. So it was fun. You know what I mean? So we created some memories along the way, but we just kind of took it in stride. So, but I knew it was coming, but I didn't know when. Yeah.
Okay. So how has it been with you all being so busy, making sure that you have quality time for each other?
Yeah. It's a challenge. A good challenge.
For me, it's easy.
Yeah.
Because we really in the same work. Like if she going to a stakeholders meeting, if she going to a community conversation, I go with her.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So whatever it is that my wife doing, I support her. So I'm present. And it's the same way, the same thing for me.
Yeah.
So it makes the relationship easy, and then when she's at her job where she be working, it's no different than me. We both ready to get back to one another. So it's easy for me, but it's a strain where if you look at like, well, you want to be up under each other all the time. It's just a good missing. It ain't not like a bad thing, but at the same time, sometimes you have the little distant in the day and it just make the heart grow fonder. That's all,
I think it's a little bit of a challenge though, because both of our schedules are really busy. Mm-hmm. And I think the key to it has been just really like in the morning, we make a habit of like, hey, what you got on, what's on your calendar today? He'll say what's on his calendar, and we kind of coordinate. Okay, well, you want to get together for lunch? Or, you want to go to breakfast this morning or something like that. We really try to look at our calendars. And then just like he goes to stuff that, I might have going on Sundays after church if he needs to go, because he does landscaping and design. So if he needs to go look at a job, I ride along with him. And that's when we have our conversations. We try to keep it, because we know our schedule. We knew that getting into this, right? That our schedules were busy and that we had a lot on our plate. And we're about to launch an entrepreneur training academy. So like we've been so we spend a lot of time together. Yeah. We're working, but we spend a lot of time together because we've been doing renovations and all kinds of stuff. So,
but we doing it together.
But we're doing it together,
so it make it easy.
And then we come home and just clunk out.
Yeah.
Just go.
I love that. And what I love so much is, again, like you said, I remember that's what was catching my eye. You all were doing a lot of traveling, award shows, and college were getting awards, and then the wedding was fantastic. Now you got the institute going, and I was like, they are in every picture together. They are not moving separately. They are really building this empire together. And so, you know, it's a lot of people who are busy, who don't think like that will be done, and we're going to do this together. And so I really appreciate that. So let's talk about what you going to say, Mr. Charlie.
You know, when you know that God done revealed to you that Daddy is the one, it is so easy doing it. It's so easy. Right. You know, like my work, not only do I do landscaping, but I do home renovation as well. So I work on various different jobs. Just as well as my wife, she do some of everything. But I admire her mind. Like, and for me, that was one of the sexiest things it was about her. When I first told her, I was like, I like to watch your mind work. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you used to tell me that all the time.
Yeah. Like, and so it's a different type of chemistry. You know, people have things that they lust after. You see what I'm saying? Vice versa, love. It's a difference. You know what I'm saying? I know who love is. And that's Christ. When you know who you are and whose you are, it's so easy. I mean, I don't know how to. I know I'm just saying it's so easy, and people may think
it really, but it really is. You know, when you have all of those challenges, again, I feel like that's God's unctioning and saying, "Hey, look," because I don't think relationships are that hard, right? Now, in retrospect, you know, being with the right person really does make a difference. It does.
Wow. Okay. So, Mr. Charlie, if you could give advice, well, let me do this first before we do this. Talk to me about the projects that you're doing. I know that you are, after this interview, it's going to talk to a fatherhood group. Could you share a little bit about that?
Yeah. I'm a member of Dwelling Place Church. Pastor Leon Jones is my pastor. And he have a father's program that we get together every Thursday, you know, trying to ignite the blessings of the Lord on the head of the household, which is the man. You know, a lot of the things that's ailing our community right now is because the man has been absent in the home. So we're trying our best to convey God's message to the man, you know, and put him in the best position to succeed. Not only is it just a spiritual enrichment, but there are so many resources that we're trying to connect the men to help build their confidence, their self-esteem. A lot of the men went through all various forms of trauma. And, you know, we have a safe space where you can share, you know, and a lot of times we hold our testimony and a lot of people miss their deliverance. So I myself, I love to testify of his goodness. So, you know, I think a lot of people may try to look at my past and use it as a way to hurt me, but I use it as my platform. So it's a difference when God has always had his hand on your life. I have always knew that I was chosen by God. If you go back to my senior yearbook, it'll say in there that I wanted to be a minister. Now, I'm not the preacher in the pulpit. That's not my ministry. I minister from where I'm from. No way I can have dialogue with anyone without telling them about how good God been to me. If he don't do anything else for me, he done enough. You know, he give me peace in my heart. peace in my soul, peace in my spirit. So, that's everything. You can have money, have no peace. Glory to God. You can have houses, riches, all the gold, everything, but no peace. Like, and the only way you get that is through Christ. So I thank God for the trials and tribulations. I thank God for everything that was meant for bad, but God meant it for good. So, it's a blessing to be walking in your purpose. We are walking in our purpose together. So it's really easy. I don't know another way to put it. Just let God lead your life. The best advice I could give to anybody about any situation: get close to God, have a personal and intimate relationship with Christ. Personal and intimate relationship with Christ. And when you do that, he'll show you all things. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything you desire in your heart to be added unto you. That what happened to me. I was seeking his kingdom. I wasn't worried about a woman. I wasn't worried about this. I wasn't worried about that. I was pretty stable in what I was doing, and I was seeking his face. And everything that I was praying for, God started to add it unto my life. That's how Nicole came in my life, because I was seeking his face and his kingdom. I was trying to help his people, put them in a better position with anything that I could do, whether that been through job placement, whether that was giving them adequate housing. We're trying our best to not only stabilize ourselves, but our immediate family, and then our community and abroad. So, charity starts at home. So, and then they work it abroad. So we trying to live out his will, the word, let it become alive in us. He said that it's in him that we move and have our being. Like Christ lives in us. So we try to allow people to see him when they see us. Sometimes people would never read the Bible, but they would read you every day.
Yes.
So, we wanted to show up in our actions and in our deeds and allow God to get the glory.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah.
Dr. Nikki, talk to us about the Institute.
So I'm super excited. If you know me, you know that my passion has always been empowering women, single moms, because that's my story, and then entrepreneurship. So all of my degrees are actually in business administration, concentration in digital marketing and digital entrepreneurship, all that good stuff. So I had a really successful run in Fraser when I was doing the work in Fraser. With the entrepreneur program that I put together there. Well, I wanted to bring it to Raleigh. So I was like, well, we already have a building. And of course, when I met Mr. Golden, because he has Golden Institute, he already had a building. And it's like God just like laid this thing out. And we just started talking about it. I was like, if I could change this, if I could change something in this building, I would totally make this a incubator, a place for entrepreneurs to come and learn and grow and be able to do business the right way, right? I've met so many. I've taught entrepreneur classes with Art Up in the Binghamton area, Fraser. And so, I really just want to see us win. And when I say us, I'm talking about us. And I want to see us have sustainable businesses, right? Not grand openings and grand closings, because we see that way too often, but really helping people and helping them hands-on, like step by step. This is what you need. You need this business license. Okay, let's apply for the business license. I don't want to be like any other program that's been out there, and Lord knows, if you know me, I've taken a ton of certification classes, right? In entrepreneurship, because that truly is my passion. I'm an entrepreneur. But I really love entrepreneurship, because I really think it can be a game changer for people that are really trying to make ends meet. It literally saved my life as a single mom. Entrepreneurship was the thing that would help me like just sustain myself. My girls were in private school, having to pay that tuition and all that good stuff. So I really want to give that to other single moms, because I feel like, what? A good friend of mine, Beverly, she always says, I think she said her grandfather told her that if you can't find a job, you can create one.
That's right.
we all have some marketable skill
That's
that we can use to create a job, right? And it may not make you millions of dollars, but it might make you enough so you come up out of poverty, or your kids can have a better life, you can have a better life. And so the Entrepreneur Training Academy we've put together, I thought about like every element that I needed as a business owner. And now we're going to give it back to the other, those coming behind us, right? So we have, I created my own curriculum. I'm a former teacher as well. So I created my own curriculum based off of things that I really pulled from all the different programs that I took over the years. And I'm talking 20 years of, this training. And so I really want people to come to the Institute or the Academy and be able to sit down and say, okay, look, I know with this type of business, I'm gonna need a business license. Okay, let's get you that business license. I had one student in Binghamton. I love to tell the story because it's heartbreaking to me, but I think it shows that the need, right? He started he did landscaping as well, and whoever was working with him charged him $1,800 to get an EIN number. And I was talking about how to get your EIN is free. And he was like, free? He got so upset he ran out to his car to get the receipt just to show me that they had charged him $1,800. I was like, this is tragic. Like, we have to do better. I think we got to quit being gatekeepers of information and be able to share with people, because we can really literally help the next business thrive, not just survive. We don't want to be in survival mode. We want to be able to thrive and have sustainable business, something that we can pass on to our kids. That's legacy building. And so that's really something that we're both big on. And so the Academy includes so you get the training. We have the classroom for the training. We have a meeting area, we have a co-working space. My favorite spot is probably our Zen Den for entrepreneurs, because a lot of times they experience burnout. Yeah. And so we have a room that is like, I just want to sit in there every day. It's so cozy. It smells good. We got aromatherapy in there. It's just so they can come, relax, gather their thoughts. People, when you are relaxed, you are more creative than when you're stressed, right? So we put the Zen Den in there. That was one of the things that I really, really wanted to have. But we also have an innovation lab, and the innovation lab has all the tools, like for you to start your first brand. Like when you brand your first T-shirt, we have the T-shirt press. We have they can make their T-shirts, their hats, the coffee mugs, tumblers, all this stuff, and it's in that room for them to use. We also have a podcast studio, audio and visual, so they can come in. One side is visual, so they have a backdrop and all this good stuff. They can put up the green screen if they want to put their own backdrop up, and the other side is audio. So it's set up for both, because some people don't want to do visual, right? And then we have a co-working space. So I was like, I'm gonna use every room on this side of the building, and we did, and it is absolutely beautiful. And I just cannot wait to get our first cohort of entrepreneurs in there using this and just seeing them thrive.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Get out there and make it happen.
Don't forget the travel.
Oh yeah, we do have because we do, I do travel. So we have a travel desk there. So if they're looking, take a vacation, let's get you on a vacation. Because that's something I feel like we need to do more of. I'm a travel queen. So out there and travel, see the world. Because sometimes, it really helps to go see something else. And then you come back to Memphis, like, now implement it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now come back and implement it.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Expose people to different things. So we really just want to make a difference in folks' lives in Memphis, man. Like, we gonna make it happen.
I told you, y'all are a power couple.
But I'm so excited about this. I'm really excited about the Academy, because I think it's gonna change some lives. And it's not just open to, older adults. The curriculum is kids could actually take this curriculum.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's very much hands-on.
Okay.
So when they leave that program, when they leave that cohort, they will have literally their whole business set up, including certifications if they want those. We'll walk them through that process,
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Oh, I'm excited.
Oh, yeah. It's coming.
And y'all together again cover both ends of the spectrum. Mr. Charlie trying to help the men be the head of the household. You're empowering women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My-
Okay, so here's my last question. I know, Mr. Charlie, you gave advice about, having an intimate relationship with Christ. But, in our society, young brothers, grown people, men, hearing that really don't know what that means.
Mhm.
So, in the layman's perspective, what advice would you give a man who wants to give his life over to Christ, wants to position himself to be the man of the household, but has no idea where to begin?
Short and sweet. It has to come from within.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, I always had ambition. I always had drive, but I was in the wrong lane.
Mm.
So God had to give me an understanding of being in position while in place.
Mhm.
Because you can be in place, but not in position.
Okay.
So when you get yourself in the right position, then God can use you. You have to understand that faith without works is dead. So you have to be willing to do the work. God said, by the working of your hands and the sweat of your brow, he'll bless. So that's the only thing I could give is it come through him
Mhm.
in you.
Mhm.
Allow it to, I know you're an educator. My wife an educator. They go to school and we think people being educated. This is my definition of what I believe education. Because they say everything that's going on, there's nothing new under the sun. Right? But what it is that comes out of you is education to the world of the craftsmanship that God has done within you.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what tap
The doors of
into.
the church are open. I like that. That was good. That was good. That was good. All right. It's your turn, Dr. Nikki. What advice would you give a woman in your position, has gone to school and done these things, that level of education, and tired of being in situations where men are being jealous, can't step up to the plate, intimidated or whatever, but their hearts are still open for love?
Trust the process. 3 simple words. Trust the process. A friend of mine said that to me, the late Peggy Russell. I miss her. Peggy said that to me years ago, and I was like, what does that mean? Like, trust the process, but literally trust the process, meaning you don't know what is going to happen. Don't shut yourself off, still be open, but really trust the process. Be okay with you. I used to tell my single moms, because, I had a group for single moms. I used to tell them all the time, date yourself. You got to like you first, right? You got to love you first before you can love somebody else. Of course you love your kids and, all that good stuff, but you got to love you. You got to love spending time with yourself and be okay with being single. And then God is going to add to that. Trust the process.
Yeah.
Either only one can get an increase.
Yeah. And it's going to be some lonely days, read a book. Watch a movie. You know what I'm saying? I had a whole bunch of those lonely days. And a lot of people ask me about that because literally I had been divorced for almost 20 years. We met, so you got to trust the process. You really have to like you. I love me. You know what I mean? So trust the process and really get to know who you are. Get back to dreaming. I think sometimes folks, we turn ourselves off from dreaming. Like, we don't have the right to dream. You do have the right to dream. Because I dreamed about exactly what we're doing right now. And watching it to come into fruition is absolutely amazing. Trust the process.
Goldens, y'all are all right with me. Y'all are all right with me. You all are definitely, truly a reflection of God's work. And I want you to know that from the bottom of my heart. I mean that. I really do. I love that.
Appreciate it.
You all complement each other well, and I pray much, much success. I'm coming. Let me know when the grand opening is.
Absolutely.
Whatever you need, I got you.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you so much. You all have a wonderful day. Mr. Charlie, get to your class. Them brothers need you.
All right,
Right.
I'm on my
Thanks
way.
for having us, Angela. We
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.
I'll see you soon.
All
Okay.
right, God bless them.
You too. What a beautiful breath of fresh air. I have really been tremendously blessed and overwhelmed with talking to the men in these relationships. Of course, I love women. Women, we are nurturers, we are lovers. That's what we do, even when we are busy, even when we sometimes are overeducated, undereducated. We're just those type of people. But to hear brothers who stand on love and represent love and practice making a habit of showing their love to their partner out loud is truly refreshing. It's truly renewing just the spirit of love in the community. So, Mr. Charlie and Dr. Nikki, I thank you so much for sharing your beautiful story. I hope that you all continue to flourish and continue to share your story. Continue to flood Facebook with the love, with the empowerment, with the abundance that you are, because you are definitely reaching and touching lives. Everybody, I thank you so much for sharing with me on this beautiful Thursday. If nothing else, those people really helped kind of give life to the tagline that I love so much: loving authentically, expressing yourself freely, and loving deeply. You know, you have a life. Why not show up as yourself every day? I heard there's a wonderful poem, and the section of the poem that I love the most: the moon shines up even when there's only a slither of light. She constantly shows up. So live your life, even if you only have a little light left. I'm not telling you to give that little light away, but do yourself a service in showing up to the world and showing that it is okay to show up. Okay. And making sure that when you do choose to love, when you do feel love, when love is presented to you, true love, honest love, like they said, it's easy when you're with the right partner. Dr. Nikki said something that was fantastic to me: how we get caught up in this thing about these butterflies and this woo 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 feeling that we get at the beginning. What if that is a red flag? Who knows? I do know that the beginning stages of love is a sense of psychosis, because you're such in a whirlwind that a lot of things that you think you're falling in love with or you think are love are just things that have you in mental disarray. So that was profound for me. And making sure that you're expressing yourself freely. Another very key point that they talked about was talking honestly. Even your flaws, even your hangups, even things that may have caused you trauma or triggers that you may still be dealing with. Express those. Have those conversations. Don't hold those in. Don't wait till after you've been dating 6 or 7 weeks and now you want to bring this up. Put those things out there on the table and actually see what happens, because in reality, love is an action. And we need to stop treating it just like it's a word or an emotion. It is an action. So enjoy your weekend. I hope that it unfolds beautifully. And remember, love is an action. Show it, give it, allow yourself to receive it. Until next Thursday, have a wonderful weekend.